Welcome students, welcome to the lecture of hydraulic engineering. In the previous lecture, we have seen introduction to the subject hydraulic engineering, and we have seen the Reynolds experiment, and we have derived the equation for Reynolds number also. We are into unit 1, that is nothing but flow through pipes. Okay, so we have introduced the terms called laminar flow and turbulent flow through Reynolds experiment. Reynolds made some observation and he has said that there are two types of flow basically that exist, that is nothing but laminar flow and turbulent flow. So now let us go much more deeper into this topic, laminar flow. So laminar flow is nothing but where the fluid moves slowly in layers in a pipe without mixing among the layers. See, this is very important. This word without much mixing is very important. Without much mixing thing is very important, because the layers of the fluid don't intermingle with each other. So this is what the laminar flow is about. Typically it occurs when the velocity is low or the fluid is very viscous. Okay, when this laminar flow occurs when the velocity is very low and the fluid is very viscous. When it comes to turbulent flow is nothing but it is the opposite of laminar flow. Opposite of laminar, where considered mixing occurs. In this turbulent flow, what happens is considerable mixing occurs. This is all about laminar, the difference between laminar flow and turbulent flow. In the laminar, the fluid moves without mixing. Okay, in turbulent flow, what happens? The considerable mixing occurs and the velocity is high in turbulent flow, whereas in laminar flow the velocity is very low. Laminar and turbulent flows can be characterized and quantified using Reynolds number. So after the observation, what Reynolds did, he has invented a dimensionless parameter which judges whether the flow is laminar flow or turbulent flow. Okay, now let us see. This is the very basic examples which we see in our kitchen daily life. Now let us see over here. This is nothing but the inlet, when we open the tap, the fluid is coming out from the tap, the water is coming out from the tap. So see, now it is in very definite shape. The water is flowing in layers. Here the water is flowing in layers, and we keep a cup and we try to bounce this water up. So by keeping a cup, what happens? This flow gets intermingled and a turbulence occurs. And when the turbulence occurs, what happens? That layer get mixed with each other and that water just splash it away. So this is nothing but this is the best day-to-day example of laminar flow and turbulent flow. Okay, this is a day-to-day example of which we see in our kitchen sink, laminar flow and turbulent flow. Now let us see the summary, what all characteristics of laminar flow and turbulent flow. Laminar flow, layers of water flow one over the another at different speeds with virtually no mixing between the layers. This we have see over here, you can see over here, the water is moving one above the another without mixing. These are nothing but, this arrow indicates layers. Okay, this arrows indicates layers. Here the water is moving one over the another without mixing. The flow velocity profile, this is nothing but flow velocity profile. This is nothing but flow velocity profile of laminar. So what happens? How this velocity, flow velocity happens? Just look at that. Just look at over here. The flow velocity profile for laminar flow in circular pipes is parabolic in shape. As you can see, this is nothing but parabolic shape. Parabolic shape. With a maximum flow at the center. See, look at over here, this is nothing but maximum flow at the center here. This is nothing but maximum flow. Here you can see this is nothing but parabola, and if you see this these are nothing but magnitudes of velocity. Okay, the maximum flow is at center, and what happens with the maximum flow in the center and the of the pipe and the minimum flow at the pipe walls. These are nothing but pipe walls. Here is the pipe wall. So when compared to center, when compared to here, it is lesser. The flow is minimum flow at the pipe walls. The average flow velocity is approximately 1/2 of the maximum velocity in the laminar flow. The average velocity is approximately 1/2 of maximum velocity. Now let us see the profile of turbulent flow. The flow is characterized by irregular movements. The flow is characterized by irregular movements of the particles of the fluid. The flow velocity profile for turbulent flow is fairly flat across the center. See, you can see it over here. Earlier it was parabolic, now it is flat. Flat at the center, and it gets suddenly drop at the walls of the pipe. The fluid velocity profile of the turbulent flow is fairly flat across the center section of the pipe and drops rapidly extreme close to the walls. See, this is nothing but here it drops rapidly. It was considerable flat till here, it was flat till here, and suddenly get what happened? It drops. So flat at the center and drops suddenly at the walls. These are nothing but walls. So this is about turbulent flow. Now if we look to some more characteristics of this laminar and turbulent flow in pipes, you can see laminar paths of particles don't obstruct each other, as we have seen here. The paths does not obstruct each other, it is in its individual layers. You can see over here, this is all in individual layers, they don't obstruct each other. Okay. Viscous forces are dominant. When in laminar flow, when the velocity is very low, viscous forces are dominant. Velocity of fluid particles only changes in magnitude. Here only magnitude changes, no direction. Lateral component of velocity is 0. In this, if we derive these forces into components, lateral components and horizontal components, the lateral component of the velocity is 0 in laminar flow. When we come to turbulent flow, what happens? Just look at over here. In the turbulent flow, paths do intersect each other. See, I am locating the mouse pointer over here. See, here the paths are intermingling with each other. Earlier it was in the laminar flow, those were only arrows, but look at over here, it is nothing but intermingling. Okay, paths do intersect each other. Inertial forces are dominant. In the turbulent flow, when the velocity is very high, generally, see, in laminar flow we said viscous, because laminar flow occurs when velocity is slow or the magnitude of velocity of flow is low. When the magnitude of flow is low or velocity is low, what happens? Viscous forces get predominant. In the case of this turbulent, when the velocity is more and the magnitude of flow is more, inertial forces get dominant. Velocity of fluid change in magnitude and direction. Earlier in the laminar flow, only magnitude, velocity of fluid particles only changes in magnitude, but over here velocity of fluid particles change in magnitude and direction in turbulent flow. Lateral component does not exist in turbulent flow. Okay. So, I will move to next topic about upper critical Reynolds number and lower critical Reynolds number. So generally head loss, what do we mean by head loss is nothing but a pressure drop. Another word for pressure drop we use it as head loss. Okay, if we measure the head loss in a given length of a uniform pipe at a different velocities, we will find that as long as the velocity is low enough to secure laminar flow, as well as long as the velocity is low enough to secure laminar flow, the head loss due to the friction is directly proportional to velocity. What does it mean? Head loss, we denote it by HF, is directly proportional to velocity. See, you can see over here in this figure, when we talk about this laminar flow, you can see that this line is nothing but it is a directly proportional line. This line is directly proportional. Unless the flow is laminar, head loss is directly proportional to velocity. But what will happen? But with increased velocity, when we increase the velocity, what we can find? Just look at the figure. At some point B, where visual observation of dye is injected. We know that in our Reynolds experiment we have injected a dye. When the dye is injected in a transparent tube, would show that flow changes from laminar to turbulent. There will be an abrupt increase in the rate at which head loss varies. So generally what the conclusion of this is nothing but when the flow is laminar, the head loss is directly proportional to velocity. And when at the increasing speed, when the flow is turbulent, the head loss abruptly increases with the velocity. This equation is only, head loss is directly proportional to velocity is only for laminar flow. When it comes to turbulent flow, this equation changes. No doubt it is proportional, but there is not a linear proportion between them. Okay. So there will be an abrupt increase in the rate at which the head loss varies. If you plot the logarithm of two variable, what is the two variable? One is velocity and another is head loss. Okay, if you plot the values directly on the log paper, we will find that after passing a certain transition region, look at over here, the transition region is nothing but BCA, this region. We will find that after passing a certain transition region BCA, the lines will have slopes ranging from 1.75 to 1. Earlier, if it was a laminar flow, what was the slope? The slope was 1. Now, when the flow is turbulent, when the head loss abruptly changes, what are the slope values? The slope values are nothing but 1.75 to 2. Okay. So now let us see what will be the relationship between head loss and velocity when it is a turbulent flow. We know that the relationship between head loss and velocity for laminar flow is directly proportional. Head loss is directly proportional to V. Now let us see this head loss is directly proportional to V is in laminar flow. Now let us see what happens in turbulent flow. Okay. If we see that, thus we see that laminar flow, the drop in energy due to the friction varies as V. Okay. While for turbulent flow, the friction varies as V to the power n. The difference is nothing but in turbulent flow, head loss varies as V to the power of n. This is for turbulent. Turbulent flow. Earlier for laminar flow, what it was? HF was only directly proportional to V. Here V, the value of n was nothing but 1. Here the value of n is nothing but it ranges from 1.75 to 2. Here also it is proportional, it is nothing but here it is linearly proportional. But here in turbulent flow it varies. In laminar flow it is linearly proportional. Lower value of 1.75 for turbulent flow occurs for pipes with very smooth walls. See 1.75, when your pipe consists of smooth walls, then the value of n is nothing but 1.75, and as the wall roughness increases, the value of n increases up to its maximum value of 2. Okay. If we gradually reduce the velocity from high value, the points will not return along the line BC. Instead, the points will lie along the curve CA, which you can see in this diagram over here. Here they are talking about this curve CA. We call point B the higher critical point and A as lower critical point, because in this region only it will be decided whether the flow is laminar or whether it is going to be a turbulent flow. However, velocity is not only the factor that determines whether the flow is laminar or turbulent. The criteria is also Reynolds number. Generally, you can't abruptly say that when the velocity is low, it is laminar. When velocity is low, when velocity high is turbulent. Apart from velocity, you also need to look at the Reynolds number. So, this we have already discussed. Just let us see once again. Reynolds number is nothing but it is the ratio of inertial forces to viscous forces. We have derived this formula, rho VL by mu. Okay. Or in terms of diameter also we can also write rho dV by mu, where we can use any consistent system of unit because R is a dimensionless number. Now, what is the significance of Reynolds number? Why we use Reynolds number? To investigate the development of laminar and turbulent flow. Just now I have said velocity is not only the criteria for deciding laminar flow and turbulent flow. Along with velocity, Reynolds number should also keep in mind. To investigate the development of laminar and turbulent flow, we use Reynolds number. To investigate critical Reynolds number. Now we will come to see what is critical Reynolds number. Now we have seen lower Reynolds number, lower critical Reynolds number and higher critical Reynolds number, and to develop a relationship between head loss and velocity. Now we have developed two relationships between head loss and velocity. What is HF is directly proportional to V and HF is directly proportional to V to the power of n. This is for turbulent, this is for laminar. Okay. Now let us see critical Reynolds number. The upper critical Reynolds number corresponding to point B is really intermediate and depends upon the care taken to prevent any initial disturbance from affecting the flow. Its value is normally about 4000, but experiments have maintained laminar flow in circular pipes up to the values of R as high as 50,000. But in this case, the judging parameter, however, in this cases, this type of flow is inherently unstable. Here we are talking about stable flow, and the least disturbance will transform it instantly into turbulent flow. On the other hand, it is practically impossible for a turbulent flow in a straight pipe to persist at a value of R much below 2000. So, what this sentence says you, it is practically impossible. Look at over here. It is practically impossible for a turbulent flow at a straight pipe to persist much below 2000. So, what does it mean? Till the Reynolds number 2000, the flow is laminar. There is no chances of occurrence of turbulence much below 2000, because any turbulence that occurs is damped out by viscous friction. We have already studied that. In laminar flow, which force is dominant? Viscous force dominant. So, when the viscous forces are active or dominant, any turbulence is damped out. This lower value thus much more definite than the higher one. This lower value we can This lower value we will insist much because any turbulence that occurs is damped out by the viscous friction. This lower value is thus much more definite than higher one, and this is the real dividing point between the two types of flow. Which type of flow? Laminar and turbulent. Which value? Lower critical Reynolds number. So we define the lower value as true critical value. Okay. Now what is critical Reynolds number? It will be the higher in a converging pipe and lower in a diverging pipe than in a straight pipe. Also it will be less for the flow in a curved pipe than in a straight one, and even for a straight uniform pipe it may be low as 1000 where there is a excessive roughness. However, for normal cases the flow in straight pipe of uniform diameter and usual roughness, we can take critical value as 2000. So what does this mean? Below the Reynolds number 2000, what exists? Laminar flow exists. Generally we say from 2000 to 4000 there is a turbulence transition zone. Above 4000 there is a turbulent flow. Thank you. Yes, let us see one problem on there's a flow type. So the question is as follows: in a refinery oil, this what you can see on your screen, we call this symbol as nu, nu, nu. Okay, that is nothing but representation of kinematic viscosity. Nu is equal to nu, that is nothing but kinematic viscosity is nothing but 1.8 into 10 to the power of minus 5 meters square per second. Flow through a 100 mm diameter pipe at 0.50 liter per second. Is the flow laminar or turbulent? We need to find. Okay, so the question which you can find it, you can see at your screens. So let us now solve this question. In a refinery oil, kinematic viscosity nu is nothing but 1.8 into 10 to the power of minus 5 meter per second. Flow through a 100 mm dia pipe at 0.5 liter per second. Is the flow laminar or turbulent? Let us start the solution. Solution of this problem. It is so first of all we will write what all things are given. Kinematic viscosity is given, right? 1.8 into 10 to the power of minus 5 meter square per second. This is the value of kinematic viscosity. Flow through a 100 mm dia pipe. So diameter is nothing but now just sorry for this interruption. The diameter is nothing but 100 mm. So we need to write diameter over here. Diameter is 100 mm. It is given. So this we can convert it into meters. That is nothing but 0.1 meter. 100 mm is nothing but 0.1 mm. Now we are the flow through pipe is how much? 0.5 liter per second. So that we will write it over here. Flow is generally represented by Q. Q is nothing but 0.5 liter per second. So we need to convert this liter per second into meter cube per second. So that is nothing but to convert liters to meter cube. Generally we need to multiply the liters with 0.0001. Okay. So 0.5 into 0.001. So this what does it becomes? It becomes so on multiplying with 0.001 this value becomes 0.001 0.0005 meter cube per second. This is nothing but the value of our Q. Q is nothing but flow or discharge, you can say. Okay, so we know the formula that discharge Q is nothing but area into velocity. As this is a discharge through pipe, so area, here the area, which area we are talking about? Pipe diameter. Generally pipe will be in circular section. So what is the area? Pi d square by 4. So Q is equal to pi d square by 4 into volume, or we can say it as velocity, area into velocity. Sorry, it's not volume, it is velocity. Here the discharge Q is nothing but area into velocity. Area here nothing but circular section, pi d square by 4 into V. So we will derive the formula for this velocity. Velocity is nothing but 4Q by pi d square. Okay, so now let us substitute all these value over here. So it is nothing but 4 into, what is Q? 0.0005 by pi is nothing but 3 point, sorry, there is one more interruption, I'll delete it. It is nothing but 3.14 into diameter is nothing but 0.1 square. Okay, so when we substitute or when we calculate this value, 4 into 0.0005 by 3.14 into 0.1 square, we get the value as 0.0637. The units will be meter per second. Velocity is represented in meter per second. 0.0637 meter per second. So now we know that Reynolds number is nothing but Reynolds number in terms of diameter, velocity and kinematic viscosity. It is nothing but diameter into velocity by kinematic viscosity. Okay, so what is the value of D over here? 0.1 into, what is the value of velocity? 0.0637 by, what is the value of kinematic viscosity? What is the value of kinematic viscosity? 1.8. It is already given. 1.8 into 10 to the power of minus 5. Now when we calculate this, we will get the value as, try to calculate what will be the value. 0.1 into 0.637 into by divided by 1.8 into 10 to the power of minus 5, it comes around 354. So here Reynolds number is how much? 354. This is less than our critical Reynolds number, that is nothing but 2000. So the flow is how much? For as this value is less than 2000, flow is laminar. Flow is laminar. So this is the problem, numerical problem associated with this type of flow. So basically what parameters have given, we need to choose this formula based on the parameters given to us. This formula should be chosen according to the parameters which are given to us. For us here it is given as kinematic viscosity. If the dynamic viscosity is given, the formula will be different. So this is all about flow is laminar. So in this method we will solve this problem. So this is it with today's session of this lecture 2. Thank you all for paying the attention to this class. Please come after watching the full video, comment your complete hall ticket number or roll number into the comment box. Attendance will be calculated from the comment section. Okay, thank you one and all.